The Slave, the Master, and the Mother's Gun. It was the early 1840s. Inside the county courthouse, a crowd of white men packed the benches, their voices thick with anger, their tobacco smoke hanging in the air. At the center of it all stood a black enslaved woman named Mary Jane, accused of murdering her master, Calvin A. Madison, a middle-aged landlord whose death had shaken the town. The plaintiff, Madison's younger brother, sat sternly beside his lawyer, demanding swift justice. 3 witnesses were paraded before the jury. Each pointed to Mary Jane as the killer. Each swore she was guilty. Their words were met with cheers, curses, and pounding fists on the benches. "Hang her," someone shouted. "She's a devil in flesh," cried another. When Mary Jane was called to the witness stand, the room erupted again. She walked with quiet dignity, her chains clinking softly. She stood tall, her face calm, her eyes steady, as if she already knew death was waiting for her. The plaintiff's lawyer fired questions one after another. "Did you strike him? Did you fire the gun? Were you in the room when Madison fell?" But Mary Jane said nothing. Not a single word passed her lips. Her silence was louder than any denial. The defense begged her to speak, but she did not. The crowd grew violent, spitting insults, shaking fists, until the judge called the sheriff's men to restore order. "This court will not be ruled by mob," the judge thundered. He adjourned the hearing until further evidence could be brought. Weeks later, Mary Jane's lawyer demanded the court summon the only true witness, Madison's mother. She had been in the house that night. The plaintiff objected, claiming she was too ill, too fragile, too stricken with grief. But at last, after 2.5 months, the old woman herself insisted she be heard. On the day of her testimony, the courthouse fell into a hush as she entered, her frail frame wrapped in black. The judge ordered a chair placed in the witness box. Her hands trembled as she reached for her pipe, and with the court's permission, she lit it. The smoke curled around her lined face as she began. She spoke first of her son's childhood, of his laughter, his tenderness, the boy she once adored. The crowd leaned forward, nodding, until her voice hardened. But my Calvin changed. He grew cruel. He grew hard, especially toward the slaves, toward the women. The benches erupted with shouts. "Silence her! She's a devil in flesh!" The plaintiff's lawyer leapt up. "Your Honor, she is not fit to testify. Grief has broken her wits." But the judge struck his gavel. "The witness will continue." And so she did. Tears welled as she described that night. Mary Jane, weary from work, had stumbled, spilling food on Calvin's shoe. For this, he had flown into a rage. He dragged her by the hair to the basement, whipped her until her screams tore through the house. "I begged him," she said, her voice breaking. "I told him, mercy is greater than pride, but he would not hear me. He beat her as if she were no human at all." She paused, her hands shaking as she drew another puff. Then she looked up, her eyes burning through the silence. "And it was then," she said slowly, "that I took the pistol and I shot my son." The room exploded. Gasps, cries, curses filled the air. Some men tried to rush forward. Others shouted for the trial to end. The plaintiff shouted at his mother in disbelief, calling her a liar, a traitor. But the old woman sat unmoved, her face carved with sorrow. "I did it," she said again, steady as stone. "Not Mary Jane. If my son had lived, he would have destroyed more lives than his own. Better that I bear this sin than let an innocent woman hang. A woman's dignity is worth more than a cruel man's breath." The courtroom froze. Even the angriest men were struck silent by the weight of her words. The judge sat back, his gavel forgotten in his hand. Mary Jane, stunned, falls to her knees, tears streaming. For the first time, she whispers, "God, thank you." The court dismissed the charges. Mary Jane walked out, free, while the town remained divided, some furious, some humbled, but none unmoved. In that courthouse, a mother buried her son twice, once in the ground and once in truth.